Hello and welcome to First Impressions. This is a show where every week my co-host Dash Hooper and I evaluate an album we've never heard before. After playing it, we take notes, rate it in a variety of categories, and let you know our thoughts. And tonight, we are looking at another one that just came out. We're going to be looking at the 2026 album Lost Weekend by Phoebe Bridgers. So Dash, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, good. Good to be back. We
Yes.
both had a long extended stay, but we're glad to be back. I'm glad to be back
Yes.
with you, Ed, and ready to dive into our newest album.
Yes. So dive into Phoebe Bridgers and kind of let you know where we stand. We have a guest who might come. He is stuck in LA traffic, and we were talking backstage, and LA traffic is indeed no joke. And you can try to go 5 miles and it could take you 2 hours. So it could, I mean, there are so many points when I've driven through LA where I go, I could quite literally walk faster than I'm going right now.
True.
And yeah, one time I was doing the LA Marathon and they had to shuttle you in to the start line. And it was starting at Dodger Stadium, which is never easy to get into. One way in, one way out. It's nightmarish. And this particular time, we're in the bus and the driver goes, "There's no way I'm getting you there on time. You guys need to just get out and walk." So we're walking up that hill of Dodger Stadium, trying to get to the race on time. So you finally get to the race and you already have an uphill mile on your legs and you're stressed. I'm like, that's not the way to start a 26-mile race. So that was my last running of the LA Marathon because I don't need to try to navigate through Dodger Stadium to go run 26 miles. So yes. Tangent number one, and where are we? We've made it 2 minutes with our first tangent. But yeah, LA traffic.
Listen, I've missed the tangents. I've had no tangents for 2.5 weeks. We need tangents.
Yeah, so they're back. Tangents have returned. All right, so we're going to dig right in like we always do with our history of the artist. So, Phoebe Bridgers was born August 17th, 1994. So I guess it is what? 2 days past her birthday. So happy belated birthday if she happens to be tuning in. So she was born in Pasadena, California. She grew up in the Los Angeles area and began writing songs and playing guitar at a young age. As a teenager, she attended the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, and she studied vocal jazz there. While she was in high school, she became involved in some different bands in the LA Indian punk scene. She played bass in the band Sloppy Jane and performed as a solo artist as well. She was also in commercials. She was in Apple commercials, Taco Bell commercials, and this helped provide money for her music, which I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't really go and try to search out her commercials, but yeah, I don't know. Did you find any of those?
I definitely did not search her out on purpose.
Okay, so no commercials for you, and I didn't. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm sure they're all over YouTube since she ended up becoming a popular musician. So I'm sure you can find her Taco Bell and Apple commercials, and with little difficulty. But I didn't. So one of her biggest influences when she was beginning was Elliott Smith, who does kind of very similar songwriting to what she does. It's, these sophisticated arrangements, fragile vocals, and very personal lyrics. So have you listened to any Elliott Smiths?
I have not listened to any Elliott Smith, and again, this is my very first take of Phoebe Bridgers.
Okay, so the Elliott Smith you probably know is he does have, I think he has like 3 or 4 songs in the Good Will Hunting soundtrack.
Ooh, okay, then yeah, I would just not know by name, but I probably know by song.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Most people go, I haven't heard Elliott Smith. I'm like, okay, have you heard Miss Misery on the Good Will Hunting soundtrack? And they're like, yes. So that's Elliott Smith. So that's, most people have a microdose of Elliott Smith that they've heard because he was in the soundtrack, and that was my first exposure to him as well. And then I had a friend who was obsessed with him and said, you have to go see him in concert. So I did get to see him a little bit, but he was also, just in that kind of indie folk scene. He was huge, still is huge. And, definitely, I mean, if nothing else, seek out his greatest hits album. It is it's a phenomenal listen. Well worth your time. In fact, I have never, honestly, I'm going to be fully honest, that's the one album of Elliott Smith's I know. I haven't dug deep into his discography, so maybe something we can look at for a later show.
Something we can add to the upcoming.
Yeah, something when we have a lull of new releases, we can grab that Elliott Smith release and do that one. So
yeah. I feel like we're really deep in the new releases for at least till the end of the year, because we both came up with some really good list of the new releases coming out.
Yeah, summer's packed. I mean, summer is pretty loaded with good new releases, and hopefully we have a couple where we can actually get some of the bands to get on the show and talk with us. I'm working on a few. I'm always working on a few, and scheduling is tricky, because the one thing about a band dropping a new release is most likely they're also touring for that new release. So then it's like how to get the schedules to line up. That's the tricky part. But she, after doing a lot of her own solo material, she released the album or the EP Killer, and this was through Ryan Adams' label Paxum, and it introduced her to a larger audience. And she also ended up in a relationship with Ryan Adams, who goes back to Whiskey Town that we covered back in the day. And they had a brief professional and romantic relationship. It began in 2014. Bridgers was 20, Ryan Adams was 40, and it started as the mentorship, but then it turned into something that was, according to her, I mean, it's all allegations, much more manipulative and abusive. And Ryan Adams did get allegations thrown at him by multiple women, so it wasn't just Phoebe Bridgers. One of the women included his ex-wife. So, according to what I read a little bit into it. He would start saying like, okay, you need to either do this or I'm not going to let you open for me. And it got very manipulative. And finally she broke up and did write a song from it in 2017. The song Motion Sickness is about her, awful relationship with him. So yeah, I mean, I dug very small into it. Of course, Adams denies all the allegations, and I don't think anything has actually come out in court. So with
Nothing's
all
come of it, yeah,
it is allegations, and there's no, definitive proof. So we will just say that is her side of the story, and that's all we got. But yeah, I know that in general he's had difficulty with getting along with a lot of people. That's why we're not seeing Whiskey Town going around and touring right now. Even though, honestly, they could probably make a killing if they did do a reunion, because I know there's a lot of buzz behind that album. But that's for another day. So the early exposure helped her establish herself, even if it didn't end up working well. And then she released her first album in 2017, which was Stranger in the Alps. And it's had quiet atmospheric arrangements, conversational vocals, and then bleak but sometimes humorous lyrics, which we kind of get thrown in. Pretty much that is her songwriting structure, and had a few popular songs. And then she stopped for a little bit on her solo career and worked in the band Boy Genius, where she was with Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus, and they recorded an EP together in 2018, and each one wrote different songs. They all they blended their voices, but each one has their own individual songwriting credit. And then after that, she worked a bit with Connor Obrist from Bright Eyes. So are you familiar with Bright Eyes material at all?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people I've learned through you. So
okay,
I'm not familiar with a whole lot of the ones that we've, especially because I was doing research and all these have come up. I don't know a whole lot of them. No.
Yeah,
Connor I probably have heard them in passing and not known it, but I'm not knowing who they are now.
He's had songs in movies as well, so it would probably be one of those ones where you'd hear a song like, oh, I remember this one from that movie or something like that. And he tours as Bright Eyes, but he also has a hardcore band. He had the one he did with Phoebe Bridgers. So he's just kind of musical chameleon. He just does what he feels like at the moment. So there was one year where he dropped an EDM album and an all acoustic folk album in the same span of a couple months. So he's one of those guys who just does a lot I mean, has a huge catalog, and I know chunks of it, but I definitely am missing a lot of holes in the Bright Eyes catalog and universe. But he's, they worked together, they became friends. Some of the people from the Bright Eyes band and Conor Oberst make an appearance on this album even. So
yeah, I saw that. I like when you tell me we're listening to this album and I go in and do my research.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them I start picking, like you said, I will throw them on the playlist. So Bright Eyes and them will probably be played down the road. If we if we don't play them on the show, they'll get played down the road sooner or later. So that's that's one thing I do like about this. When you like, hey, check this person out, and then a list of their the people they're influenced by or they were fan. I love that. I do love that.
Yeah, and they're I mean, I haven't heard their project together, so I never. It's Better Oblivion Community Center is the name of the album, and it's self-titled, so the name of the band and the album. And honestly, this one I haven't heard it myself. So it's one of those ones where I knew they had collaborated together, but I didn't know that they dropped a full album. So it's one of those things I need to go and listen to it. I need to go do a little bit because it says it's more of a narrative folk rock, but with a dystopian quality. So I'm like, that could be interesting. So I'm curious on that one.
Folk rock with dystopia. Oh, that's a wild.
Yeah. So it's one.
Those even mix?
I don't know. Got to play it, I guess, to find out. So
that's cool.
In 2020, she released the album that became kind of her biggest album up to date, and that was Punisher. So this one, it came out in 2020, and it became kind of a soundtrack for the pandemic. So it came out in June 2020, and these songs and themes were kind of dealing with isolation, anxiety, all of these things, relationships through alienation. And it really resonated with people, where she had a huge online presence at this time and was online, and she would go online and kind of trash somebody who did a negative review. And she built this huge online following. She did, those concerts where you performed to no one, but they live streamed them. So she was doing stuff like that. And this is where she really started to build this traction, so that by the time 2021 came around and they were finally okaying concerts again, she was selling out concerts in no time. I mean, when she played in LA, it was an instantaneous sellout. And this was just from what she had kind of built through her beginnings, when she built through just doing her first few albums. But then what she did through COVID kind of solidified her as a big star. And that one was the first album I really listened to repeatedly of hers. So that was kind of, I guess, when we get into our history, that was my first big exposure, because I was just fiendishly looking for new music during the pandemic. I mean, it was just like, I went on so many weird rabbit holes of searching for music. Like, all right, I'm going to search for some Russian, Gothic dark wave, and like, whoop, rabbit hole, like shout out Stereopina. That, check her out. It is good stuff. I ordered the album from
there's
Russia.
Russian Gothic.
It's badass as well. It's so good. I had to import the album from Russia. So it took like 7 months to show up.
Yeah.
I had written it off. I'm like, all right, I'm never going to get this album from Russia. And then 7 months later, there it is on the porch. And she signed it, but she signed it in Russian. So I'm like, that's so freaking cool.
That's pretty cool.
It. So yes, Russian dark wave, French emo, like you name it. I was searching out weird rabbit holes.
Since we started this show, I have learned there's about 2,352 different genres.
Yeah.
So,
and apparently I listened to 300 last year. So yeah. But that's what I started doing. Like Japanese post-punk, you name it. I was falling in these rabbit holes. And I mean, I loved it. I had a good time.
A lot of the Asian and markets now being stationed over in Korea, like we were talking about that K-pop. I knew about K-pop like way back in before K-pop was even pop. So I like that. I like that
before it made the U.S. You were here. That was one of the things you were ahead of the game on.
And it's fun to see, like you say, French emo, but it's just cool to see that there's all these markets for it. You're like, you just never know, because I'm stuck in Podunk, Oklahoma, so I get I get alternative, I get country, I get you know, some of the stuff might play on there, but when you really, you know, you get in the Air Force, or for me, for going to the Air Force, you see all these, and I'm still learning more at 50 something years old. I'm not going to give all of it away, but yeah.
No, that's the good thing, is it, like, what both of us are just willing to keep searching out new stuff. Like we're not those guys that say, oh yeah, the only good music came out when I was in high school, and music hasn't been good since Nirvana or whatever, you know, fill in the blank with that. But yeah, I mean, I know so many people that have just kind of like, as soon as high school, maybe college, that's it. That's when they stopped exploring, and they're just like, I'm done with music. All the good stuff came out when I was younger, and this music today is crap. You know, like, okay, you know what? Quiet, old man.
They're just, they say it's because they're still listening to the same, they're still listening to the same thing. So their alternative music wasn't like their alternative music back in the day, you know.
Yeah,
where you have to search it out.
It's easy to stop trying, and you can, but it's foolish, in my opinion, to stop trying. That's why I don't. But yeah, it was one of those things where COVID, that led me into the weirdest exploration of music, and Phoebe Bridgers was one of those artists that I discovered, and I knew her. It's not that I didn't know her going in, but I knew a couple songs. I think I had a few of her songs liked on my Spotify, and then it was just the full deep dive into the Punisher album, and, you know, then digging into the rest of her catalog from there. But still not that Conor Oberst album, so that's one I actually need to seek out, because I haven't heard a single song from that one. So it would be interesting to hear that dystopian folk. So I'm curious on that.
I'm ready for it, because
it
just sounds good. It sounds good, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I know the big song on that album was I Know the End, and it was a breakup song, but it kind of fits into this like driving through nothingness and being alone, and it became kind of a COVID anthem, and it became her big song, and it became what she closes all her shows out with and everything, because it has this apocalyptic vibe. And when you're just living through COVID and you're driving down these weird and empty freeways that should be crowded, it's, you know, that song kind of became what resonated. So Punisher received 4 Grammy nominations, didn't win any. It was not nominated for 4, but it was shut out. And then after that, she brought back Boy Genius for the album The Record. That was in 2023. Really good album. Definitely recommended. If this one is a little too slow and somber, that one with the 3 different songwriters has a lot more upbeat tempo to it. A lot. I mean, it's not as moody, where it's not gonna make you break down on the couch as you're thinking about death. So it's a stronger, happier album, but, you know, very good. And that one was where she finally won Grammy Awards. That one was, I don't know how many it was nominated for, but it won 3 Grammys for Best Alternative Music Album, Best Alternative Performance, and Best Song for the Not Strong Enough. So yeah, that one. And then she also has a Grammy with SZA's Ghost in the Machine. She's got a co-writer credit on that one. So she has 4 Grammys now, but none under just her name. Now this year, I'm sure she'll be nominated, and maybe she'll get one just for her own material. But at this point, that's just the best guess. All right. So
the cutoff she's good for the next year's Grammys.
Yeah, she could be for the 2027 Grammys. For this year, it's not going to make it. But yeah, I guess the good news for her, she won't have to compete with K-pop Demon Hunters, because they just scorched everything they were nominated for as far as the music went. So yes, she will not have to compete with them this year. I don't know. She'll have to compete with, albums we have listened to, like Death Cab. That's right in that best alternative category, and that's a hard one. I think I'm at this point, I'm giving the edge to Death Cab on that one.
Yeah, that was a good album.
I mean, I like this album, but that Death Cab album is amazing. I mean, I don't know what it is. Every friggin' album, every new release I pick is just dealing with all this loss. Like, we need to pick, like, when's The Prodigy releasing a new album or something? We just need something that's mindless and light.
You said, yeah, we need, like,
I mean, I think the Alabama Shakes might hit that category.
Yeah, Alabama Shakes won't be in the depressing.
It won't be the somber zone.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking when we finally hit that one in a couple weeks, that one should be pretty good. I have it on order, so I'm waiting for it to come. That was one of those ones where I trusted enough from their first 2 albums that I just bought it without hearing any songs. So hopefully I don't regret.
Well, they're Alabama Shakes is one of those ones where you're just like, you just know, like you said, you can buy it without, because they have a track record, and it's rarely ever have I ever dealt with a band where I've gone and like, I know I'm going to go buy it, for lack of better, I'll just say the Cure. If the Cure gives us one next year, I'm going to go buy it no matter what.
Yeah. I'm pre-ordering it from the band's website to get right when it comes out. And that's what I did with the Alabama Shakes. And I was lucky that I was able to grab one of the autographed ones before they were sold out, because I love when the bands do it, because it wasn't an upcharge. It was just, you better be fast.
You got to get it.
I think they signed like 100 of them, and it was still just $30. So, I mean, you drop the money, and it's, you should like it. I mean, I guess the last one I bought that was an autographed one that I didn't end up loving was the Black Keys one, but it's still cool to have an autographed album, because that doesn't mean I dislike their entire discography. That album just fell hard, but I always try to snatch them up if I can. All right. So now we are ready. We've gone through her history, and now the history of this album. Lost Weekend released on Friday. It was released last Friday. Was it the 14th, I think? But it was after Punisher. It was 6 years after Punisher, because that came out in 2020. It's her 3rd solo album and 1 EP, and it was a new phase in her career. She wanted to dig deeper into these themes of grief and complicated relationships and personal change, while still keeping the intimacy and the dark humor. And it's very much steeped in the death of her father, who died in 2022 between this. And the death of her father also kind of forced her out of the spotlight. She kind of disappeared online after her father died, because a few of her fans ended up kind of crashing the funeral. And at that point, she's like, you know what? I can't deal with it. I love my fans, but I'm going to love them from afar, because that's just some bullshit for them to be crashing into the funeral. So, yeah, came out August 14th on Dead Oceans Records. And it was this one was where she had the most buzz around her, because Boy Genius had hit so hard. Now this is her turn to kind of do it with that one. And it's come out. It is, I don't know how it's selling. It's hard to track record sales nowadays. But I know it's got it's got 1 million exclusives. She did the Taylor Swift thing. And
she's
Target,
Amazon. She Taylor Swifted the hell out of this album. 11 different pressings.
Yeah.
So you have Standard Black, Sign Black, Neptune Winds, Pale Blue Dot, Far Side of the Moon, Rogue Planet, Pluto Glaciers, Regolith, Europa Ice, some word I cannot say, Geysers, and Zodiacal Light. Listen, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't track the sales, but she is doing the thing. For the completists out there, they're going to end up buying it 5 times. And yeah, I mean, I guess go ahead.
Here's my issue. She's called the critics, if you will, are calling this the most, or a very, very somber, very devastating. This was devastating for her when she wrote this.
Yeah.
My issue is, and this goes for Taylor Swift, and you Swifties can come after me all you want. If this is such a devastating album, why are you giving me 11 different pressings of this album? That makes no sense.
Well, that could be the record label too, because the record labels are so desperate for money now, because record sales just don't exist. And that's why anytime a band has a potential to make a lot of sales, they're going to. I mean, Jack White had 1 million different versions of his thing. And a lot of people, I think, I mean, I don't know. If it's her choice, it's like, you know what? Release it on your website. But I mean, we're not in that market. And, you know, I know comic creators that release multiple covers of their books, and it's kind of in that same vein. But I mean, who knows? What does that come from the record label? Does that come from her? It's hard to say. I'm not gonna come at it one way or the other.
I'm coming at it because I got the Taylor Swift vibes off this album, and I'm not taking anything away from her. She sounds excellent as far as singing goes. My problem is again, I'm reading all these reviews, and I'm reading the you know, she's saying this is one of the worst things she's ever gone through. We're going to talk about a couple songs where the breakups and things like that, or she walked away from her wedding. But you're telling everybody that this is soul wrenching. This hurt me, and now you want to give out 11 different. That's to me that stinks of. I mean, it's good marketing, sure. It's you know, it's you know, that's what we can say about Taylor Swift. It's good marketing. But if you're going to tell, I mean, I don't know if I would go out and do 11 different covers of a memoir where I'm talking about everything that destroyed my life.
If I did it as a comic, it would have 4 covers. So, I mean, you know, I look at Floaters, and Floaters is my autobiographical story, and I had 5 covers for it.
This is true.
I mean, it's you have to think you are in the art of telling the stories of her, in her case, of making the music, but you also got to make some damn money. Yeah. And it's progressively harder and harder to make money in the music industry. So you either tour like a maniac and play, you know, thousands upon thousands of shows, or you know, release multiple copies. Because, you know, even The Cure, they had, I think, like 4 or 5 different versions of their last album, and it was his emotional one. So I think it's hard when you are a personal style of a songwriter to mix with that. You also need to be a businesswoman, in her case, making money, and to not, you know, cross the line. I don't know.
I can go with 4 pressings. Yeah. I can go with 4 pressings, 4 covers, whatever you want to say. 11 different colored pressings is a little. Yeah, I don't know. That to me seems a little overboard. I get it, and I'm not telling anybody not to go out there and make that money. By all means, do it. That's just a critique I have. It's a criticism I have, and it's, you know, it's neither here nor there. I just want to say that 11 pressings, that got me. That was when I was like, whoa. But cool. All right. I took us off on a tangent. Go ahead.
All right. Yes. And then on this album, she has a significant amount of guest stars. She released it. She announced it in June, and then started to play small little shows that were like they were $1 each. And she even sold out Madison Square Garden for $1 for each ticket. Non-transferable tickets, mind you, so it's not like a scalper bought them for $1 and now they can sell them for $100. And they were all non-cell phone shows. So she kind of like built the buzz for this album through doing these super cheap shows and making people check their cell phones in so they could only talk about the songs instead of posting, you know, low-res garbage-looking versions on YouTube. So she built this buzz. She brought in different guest stars. So Boy Genius, they appear on the album. Connor Oberst, Cameron Winter from Geese. So she brings in a lot of guest stars. And yeah, let's dig into the reviews. So reviews of the album. Hold on, I clicked the wrong button. So we look at Metacritic when we can, because it's kind of your Rotten Tomatoes for music. And on Metacritic right now, it is sitting at a 92. So strong score on Metacritic. Rolling Stone, the rare 4.5 stars that they gave this album, and they called it her longest and most daring record yet. Our guys Pitchfork, what did they give it? They gave it I think it was like an 8.4, but let me see. I got to get the full reviews. So Pitchfork gave it, an 8.4. They're Dewey Decimal, and they said It's familiar territory, but it is her quietest and most cohesive album, and it received from The Skinny 100%, so they gave it a 5 stars. NME gave it a 5 stars. The Guardian from England gave it a 5 star. So it scored very high in all of the categories. The lowest score it sits at is a 3 star.
Or the Atlantic, I think.
What's that?
The Atlantic gave it a bad.
I haven't read that one. I don't know if that's a Metacritic yet. No Ripcord. They said it's the lack of significant tempo and tonal shifts make it wear thin over the course of its 16 tracks.
Yeah, I got the Atlantic one. It started off with a good opening, but then it becomes less effective with fragmented structures, opaque writing, overproduction, and emotional distance.
Okay.
That was theirs in a
so the Atlantic, and I'm sure it'll get added because right now you figure we're not even a full week.
We're not even a full week. We're like 5 days in on the release.
And my guess is it's going to end up settling in that like 8.4 zone, like they always seem to do on Metacritic, because there's going to be some, like that Atlantic one. It's probably a 3 star, maybe a 2.5. And once they get all those added in, it'll kind of shift the score down. But right now we're looking at most of these reviews dropped before the album even dropped. I know Pitchfork had it up the day before. Rolling Stone had it in.
Well, they're one of the paid for ones, aren't they? Like, I know. Well, no, Metacritic. So I know that
Metacritic's free. Rolling Stone and Pitchfork make you pay.
Right. Well, yeah, they pay. Yeah, you have to pay them for the review.
Yeah,
the artist. So it's kind of like the movies. So when you go to Rotten Tomatoes and you see all the critic scores, all those very first critic scores are the ones that were paid to go and watch the movie and then review it. So that's what I know. I know that, like, so yeah, that's give me a realistic review.
Well, the first week you're never going to see the most realistic anything. I mean, Pitchfork is realistic. Rolling Stone is realistic because they're pay to read site, so they're going to give you their honest assessment.
Yeah,
and because you're paying the money to do it, they're not getting paid, but they know if you want to read them, you're going to pay them. And NME is generally pretty safe. Like there's certain ones that like these ones have been pretty reliable for a long time. But like The Skinny, I've never heard of.
Never heard of.
NME, they're always there. The Guardian, like that's your Rolling Stone and your Pitchfork of England. So those are trustworthy. Rolling Stone and Pitchfork are trustworthy. The rest, like I said, some of them, Variety's generally pretty normal.
Variety, as long as they like you. Variety, as long as Variety likes you, you're going to get a good. I've noticed that where if they don't like a certain artist, they probably
rip up Billy Corgan. I'm guessing if Pumpkins release something. I mean, but generally most of the critics do. He could release a masterpiece and people are going to shit on it because they just don't like him. And, it's kind of the reputation he's built, but where Phoebe Bridgers hasn't alienated herself that way. So she's okay.
Nobody's alienated themselves like Corrigan or Morrissey.
Morrissey, who once again just canceled a string of dates in Las Vegas.
And he just came out and said something about, he just talks smack about somebody else. Hold on, let me keep going. I'll look it up.
Morrissey, the George Washington of our Mount Rushmore of douche artists. He definitely holds the most prominent spot. And will anyone dethrone him? I doubt it. It would take a lot to dethrone Morrissey from being horrible. But yeah, I know a couple of my friends were going to go see him in Vegas, and they're like, I can't believe he canceled. I'm like, can't you? The man who stopped a concert in the middle because he was too cold. The fucking guy selling $75 hoodies can't go get one of them and put it on to finish a concert. But yes,
he just came out against Johnny Marr. He just came out like literally bashing Johnny Marr and.
Him and Johnny have
they've had beef forever.
I mean, Johnny Marr has said there's not enough money to get him to play another Smith show with Morrissey. So. Yeah, those guys have permanent beef, and he always likes to talk trash. But, oh, man, go and dig up some of the Robert Smith quotes about Morrissey, they're beautiful. Robert Smith, he said maybe he should eat a little bit of meat. I'm like, my man, Robert Smith for the win. But yeah, just dig it up. Reading Robert Smith trashing Morrissey is just beautiful.
I need a shirt. I need a shirt that says that too. I just need that quote from Robert Smith on a shirt. I would wear that everywhere.
I have a picture of Robert Smith with Morrissey next to him. Maybe he should eat some meat. I'm like, oh, I love you, Robert Smith.
That's great.
Forever the GOAT. All right. So we have done all of our history. Now let's talk about, what is your history of Phoebe Bridgers?
My history with Phoebe Bridgers was 8/15/2020. I didn't even know she existed. Really, and I mean, we had talked about doing this album for a while because I think we dropped it a few months ago. We were saying we're gonna do it. So I didn't know anything about her. Did my research and but not, so my history is literally this album. And that's it.
Got it.
I guess, I didn't go look for those. You talked about the commercials and things. I didn't go look for them, but I mean, that's one way you build your, you have to build your audience, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. So that's my history. And that's all I got to say.
Cool. So I go a little deeper. I found her, the first time I found her was actually, she was opening up for the band Television. And are you familiar with Television?
I think you've talked about Television a couple of times.
They're one of those. I mean, I would have had to have talked about them when we were doing our Talking Heads episode.
Yeah,
because they were a big CBGB band. So she opened for them in LA when they were playing a tour out here, and that was in 2017. So that was my first exposure to her. She was the opener. The crowd just talked all the way through her. Insanely disrespectful. LA crowds are usually full of dickheads who will just talk through anybody. I mean, I've seen it too many times and it makes me crazy. LA crowds are just jaded and think that, because they've seen it all. They're like, oh, we don't need to know this. And then that same douche who was talking the whole time is going to be like, yeah, I was there when she was small. And they're going to start bragging how they saw her before anyone knew her, even though they talked and, told everyone about whatever. But yeah, that's the LA crowd. So yes, I saw her at that show and then kind of started, I think I grabbed or listened to parts of her first album. I just kind of played some on, it wouldn't have been Spotify. I guess it would have been probably Apple Music at the time. I don't know. Was Spotify in 2017?
Yeah, you've had Spotify because Spotify goes back to mid. But you probably was Apple. It probably was iTunes or Apple Tunes.
And one of the streaming platforms, I would have played some of her songs. And then, like I said, kind of dug really deep into her stuff in 2020, when it was my COVID rabbit holes. And that was just one of the albums that I think Pitchfork gave it a strong review. And at that point, if Pitchfork gave anything a strong review, I'm like, yeah, let me check it out. See if they're right or if they're just, giving the wrong buzz to the wrong album. And that one, I really liked it. It addressed where we were in the world at that moment. So yeah, since then I've grabbed her new releases. I grabbed the Boy Genius one, and I always laugh because I went to the Boy Genius concert, and it was the time, the poor women's room, the line was so long, and the men's room, there were like 5 men in the crowd. And finally they walked up to the men's room, and they're like, I was just walking out there like, all right, nobody else in the men's room. And they just let the women take over the men's room. And because there are not enough men to even care about it. So yeah, that was the most disproportionate. The flip side of that show.
Why did the women just go to the men's room? I mean, come on.
They finally let them.
Yeah,
because the line was so bad. But you can see the opposite spectrum if you go to a Primus concert.
Well, yeah.
You go to a Primus concert, the men's line is giant and long, and the women could just walk right in.
Women are not.
5 women that are probably drugged there by their boyfriends. I mean, maybe there's women out there who love Primus, but it is very disproportionate in the amount of women fans to men's fans. And I guess Rush, they were doing a reunion tour. I'm guessing it would be a pretty similar look where it was like the men. I mean, Rush had hits, so it would be they had
Rush
hits.
probably gonna have some win because I have a lot of my female relatives are Rush fans. So.
I guess so. Rush Primus is the
Primus. Primus is not going to have any win, or it's going to be like you said 5. So Spotify has been around 20 years. Spotify started in 2006. It didn't become public though until 2008. So
okay, so it might have been Spotify.
Probably was because I knew. When Lorraine and I got married 10 years ago, it'd been there because we had Spotify then. So,
okay, so yeah, it could have been that. Well, I streamed it on whatever platform of the time, and yeah, it was. I liked her music. I've followed since, so I think I'm in a different place with her than you are. So definitely that. But that usually happens when I drop one of these new indie bands at you, and if you drop a country one, then we can have the opposite occurrence. All right. So overall thoughts. What are your overall thoughts on this one?
I think we talked about this backstage. Mm-hmm. It was a good album, but at the wrong time. And so I will say that overall, I don't know. I'm not into the indie sad girl.
That's my jam. Sorry,
I'm not. I don't want to take anything away from anybody. I'm not. Indie sad girl just doesn't. I mean, because like we said, a lot of the last few albums we've had have really been on the dealing with pain and loss.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's again, like I said, I think it's probably the right album at the wrong time for me.
Yeah.
So I wasn't. It just was not connecting this time.
Okay.
For some reason, I like some songs. There's a couple of really good songs on there that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I at times I didn't know what kind of album it wanted to be. I thought it was. We started off with a techno thing for a minute, and then we went to depression, and I just didn't know what this album was. And again, given that reflection, there may be a time later down the road where I revisit it because, like I said, we're not going to. I mean, I'm not going to get too much, but what we talked about backstage, you kind of know where we were at in our thing. So I think it was the right album at the wrong time, and that's what I'll leave it. That's what I'll leave it at.
Yeah, for me, it was the right album at the right time because for me, it's this powerful journey that she's talking about: love, loss, lost love, and new love, and it's all through her kind of. You got to kind of get used to her autobiographical lyrics too. So they feel at times stream of consciousness where she's just kind of dropping memories and times and places, and then eventually they kind of unfold into something more metaphorical, more profound. And this one, where she's dealing with the loss of her father, who she did reconnect with during COVID, and they had finally kind of mended their relationship because he was alcoholic, he was abusive, they had a lot of issues, and they had kind of stopped speaking. And then during COVID reconnected, and then he died shortly after COVID. So dealing with loss right now, where I in my life lost someone who I can say in the nicest words I had a complex relationship with. And I've had to work hard to look at, now that person is lost, how can I reinterpret my feelings? I can't live in just bitterness. You can't suffocate yourself with that bitterness, and dealing with that, and just the way she was too, where there's certain points where she's talking about not all these, just cheery, happy memories. And it's just, these songs had me just whimpering. I was like, damn, this is the wrong day. I'm on the couch, and it kind of, the day I played it for the first listen, it kind of wrecked me for the day. It brought up too much. Because I mean, I've had, I'm not going to go overly personal, but I've had 2 losses in the span of a few weeks, and both hitting me in different ways. One, like I said, a very complex relationship, one more of a father figure. And it's just like, it poured over me like a wave of sorrow, which did I need it? Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes that is.
I mean, sometimes you do. I mean,
so it could be the right album at the right time for me, because I'm feeling these emotions. And it's hard when you're feeling those emotions, because especially when you're trying to come to grips with things, coming to grips, and then playing an album like this, it's just like, Phoebe, quit punching me in the gut on this one. So I think where we are in our personal moments of life, it hits different. And if I had come at it and, everything was chipper and I'm in a happy mood, it would have been so okay, maybe it's a bit of a downer. But I'm kind of walking around in a bit of a downer mode right now, and I'm just trying to shake it off. This album will not help you shake it off, I'll give you that much. But it might be the emotion you need to kind of come to grips. You won't shake it off, but you can help come to grips with complexity in your relationships with people in your life when you've lost them. So yeah, for me, it was, the couch metaphor was sorrow. It's like, it was hitting me at the right place in the right time in my life, where I can feel like it was a painful album for her and it's a painful album for me, because it gets you. So that's why I am loaded with lyrics on this one. I mean, I have so many lyrics because they were just hitting me at different places. And shout out to her lyric sheet. It is absolutely beautiful. She did it in this booklet form. It's got like silver etching on it, all full colors, where she had these paintings made for each song. So the paintings connect with the songs, and the way she arranged the lyrics, it's just beautiful. So I always will shit on a band when they don't give me a lyric sheet. And anytime I'm like, you know what? I had to go on friggin', genius.com and read the stupid lyrics there, where people make their annoying interjections and think they know everything. And she did not make me go to genius.com. I was able to write all my lyrics as I was taking notes on the album. So shout out to one of the most beautiful lyric sheets, second to her previous album, Punisher, which also had a beautiful lyric sheet put into it. So I love when a band gives you more instead of just, you can go search up the lyrics. Like bands like Jack White, come on, give me a lyric sheet.
Right.
You're too big to not include that. So that's when I grumble at the bands. But for her, I will give the shout out, because it is a beautiful and well done lyric sheet with just amazing artwork. I mean, something to seek out. You can probably find pictures of the songs online, but my daughter was just flipping through it, reading the lyrics, having not heard the album, and was just like, wow, this is great the way it was presented. So I will always shout out a band when they don't do it, and I will talk shit. So I will shout out when you actually do give me something as nice as what she put together for this album. So props to that. All right. So now we are ready for our next category, and that will be best songs. And Pop said he makes his girlfriends listen.
Rush. I mean, when you have one of the greatest wrestlers of all time walk out to Tom Sawyer, a lot of girls loved Rush.
Oh, no, I got no beef with Rush. I guess, yeah, I just didn't think of it as a female one. But Primus, absolutely. I mean, whatever your feelings are on Primus, they are a male-centered band. And you can't, whether they're your favorite band or your least favorite, you can't deny that. Much like Phoebe Bridgers, when I go to that concert, I'm going to be like one of the random and only guys there without a woman. So although April is like, you got to get me a ticket. April, like, I just buy a lot of tickets to concerts, and April will discover them with me, and she's like, that's really good. Can I go? I'm like, oh, kind of sold out already. But yeah. That's because she can't keep up with how much music I'm always consuming. And, she finds out later. But one thing that I was it felt very connected to me to an album by Sufjan Stevens, which is Carrie and Lowell. And it's kind of his coming to grips with losing his mother, who he had a very complicated relationship with. And it hit me the same way, but that one I wasn't dealing with loss, but it's a very somber album, but also very beautiful. And this album reminded me a lot of that. And when she was listening to it, she brought that up as well, where it's just like, wow, it feels so much like a Sufjan Stevens album they should tour together, and like that'd be your bring a box of tissues tour, but it'd be so good. Those two, like, oh man, another one well worth checking out. And he hasn't toured for a long time. Since COVID, he hasn't toured. So yeah. A great artist, but yeah, for another day, I suppose. So what song stood out to you on this?
I have one favorite song on this album, just one. Other than that, the rest are either I'm skipping or they didn't do anything for me. And I like Lost Boys. I thought Lost Boys was the best song. And I think because of there's a lot, she talks about the military in there, and this one, I think this one was really about her dad. I mean, it's probably about some other people as well, but this one was for sure. Yeah, this is definitely her dad, and the lifestyle she lived as a kid. But I just thought Lost Boys it's probably the most upbeat.
Yeah, I'd say so. Bobby maybe as well. Bobby's pretty.
Yeah, but I loved I got to see the video for this one, and I really liked the video. And I'm going to tell everybody that's what Lord of the Rings of Power should have actually been, because
he did it better than Amazon.
She did a video way better than Amazon could even do with Rings of Power. But I think I liked the meaning behind it. I mean, we go into it's just. I don't know if she's a man hater or not. I'm not going to go into all that, but she's definitely had some man issues in her life.
She's had some rough breakups, but now she's dating Bo Burnham, and they're pretty happy. It would seem.
I mean, if you walk away from your wedding to go to somebody else, I guess you can write a song about it. But I like Lost Boys was probably my favorite song on there.
All right. Okay. So I have a few, but like I said, we're hitting this in a different place. So I like there were two songs that kind of connected to me, where you had Governor's Ball, and that one is kind of the tragic song about losing love and how he kind of ended up, from what I don't quote me on this, I believe he cheated on her with the woman she talks about in the end of the song.
And in the end of the song, yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where when she's talking about the relationship, I just love the way her wording just kind of hits me, where it's kind of, we're staying together, but should we? Like, all right, you promise you'd never leave, but maybe you should, but we're getting into lyrics. But I like how it was followed by Bobby. So she moved, like we had this somber song, and it then moved into Bobby, which was more upbeat, and it was the opposite side. We're seeing the disintegrating relationship that fell apart, followed by the one where she's happy, she's loving him, but it also has that air of danger in it, where she's like perhaps too obsessed, perhaps too deep in love with some of the things that she says. So I had those two. I like how they kind of followed each other, where the first one was the lost, then it was the happy, where she's at now version. And then I did like Haunted. I thought that one might be the one you'd pick, because it's got that kind of country vibe going to it.
It's again, I think if this was 3 or 4 weeks later, it probably would have been. Okay. Don't get me wrong. It's very well written. I don't know, man. Like I said, I needed it at a different time for me. I'll leave it that.
Yeah, and where you hit it is always going to make the difference. So I also really liked As Above. It feels like a 9 Inch Nails song. And I don't know if you know the 9 Inch Nails song, Right Where It Belongs. It felt so connected to that song, where almost like, ooh, is it too much Right Where It Belongs? But I did like that one. It had that kind of slow Trent Reznor industrial vibe, which is, I love that speed of 9 Inch Nails when he kind of slows it down. And those end up being my favorite 9 Inch Nails songs. So this feels like a good 9 Inch Nails song sung by Phoebe Bridgers.
As Above felt way too politically charged for me to even.
Yeah, I mean it's her one political song, but I'm just digging the industrial vibes. I will be honest, I didn't pay much attention to the lyrics on that one. It was I was vibing to the industrial feel of it, but I know she gets political on that one. In general, there's not a lot of politics in her album. In this one, at least, it's more.
No, not in this one. That was
loss.
Yeah, that was the only one that I noticed. But just I could go with the melody, the tune and the melody were fine. And I was like, come on, you don't need to do that on this album where you're. Now, if the whole and I will preface this, if the whole song had been politically charged, it's a different tone, and because now I know what the album
it's got. I'm looking at the lyrics, and it's. I guess I'm not finding the politics in it.
Yeah, there's a key. There's a key reference in there about a certain aircraft flying over, and then it goes into, well, my mom, and then it's like blaming stuff on a certain. I'm not gonna say I don't know who it is because
I get it. I'm seeing it now. Yeah. See, I was looking more at the end of it where she was talking about, like, it was more of like the love moved in that.
Yeah, the end of the song is pretty good. And like I said, if the whole album had been politically, like everything was a political statement, because we've listened to a lot of albums that are politically, or they have political statements, and that's fine. I here nor there, even it doesn't bother me. But that one just felt way out of place, and it was because of those lyrics to me.
And I guess I interpreted them differently.
Yeah.
When I was looking at it, I think of almost, like I said, just kind of this stream of consciousness, just talking about things. And she's thinking about Air Force One, but I was thinking when she's talking about her mom driving herself to the hospital, I just thought it was another, memory of something she remembered, and was her mom driving herself to the hospital because of something the father had done. Because we get that snippet of abuse in that song where the woman is bleeding over the sink and the father is saying, I'm sorry, but he's looking at her. So I thought of it as her mom having to escape the dad and driving herself. So I guess it's interpretation.
Yeah,
I didn't get that, but when I see it from your end, I can see where it comes at. I mean, I can absolutely see that interpretation. It makes sense. But for me, like I said, I saw it more as getting away from that dad who was known to be abusive, and we saw snippets of that abuse in there. And it was the mom, not that she had to drive herself to the hospital, not because of Medicare, not because of anything, because her dad wouldn't do it, and she had to do it herself.
I can see that. Yeah, I definitely can see that now that you put it. It is. I think it's up to interpretation. And again, had she had those kind of lyrics throughout, I don't think I would have picked up on it. Or if you know what I'm saying, I don't think I would have, because this, to me, this is really, it is a lost album. And if we're going, I mean, when we boil it down to the bare bones, this is a loss and tragedy album.
Yeah.
So I think that stuck out to me because of the other lyrics being what they were.
Yeah. And I just looked at it like I saw more of the father, where he's kind of,
I could see it,
where he did abuse the mom, and we know that based on things that are in here, and then she's looking for an exit, and I'm thinking it's I saw it more as that, but again, when you bring Air Force One in, you're obviously opening it up to your interpretation, which either one is valid in its own way. But I can see absolutely where you come from, but I guess I just didn't hear it that way. But I know that one of the people that I listened to doing a review of the album was talking very much about the politics in it. And I guess the approach I came at it from, the lost side of things, I guess I kind of tuned out the political side of it.
That was probably, to me, that was the only one. I didn't feel, I don't know who you're talking about as far as that goes, what they were talking about. To me, it didn't fit. To me, this was, and for lack of a better term, I'm calling it her Taylor Swift album, because that's the way I felt about it listening to it, was some of the breakups, some of the horror, the stuff that she'd gone through.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I looked at it. I didn't see it as, and again, I'm not trying to derail this as it wasn't to me. It just, that song stood out because of those lyrics.
Yeah.
When everything else, I was like, I understand what she's going, or I can empathize and understand because, like what we talked about backstage, so I can empathize, I can sympathize, I know what she's going through, but that just felt off to me, and I think that probably is why I was like, I don't like that song right now.
Yeah, I can see that. And like I said, I looked at it from the different approach and kind of the ghost of her father as we see through this whole album.
Oh, there's a lot of him in there.
It's a haunted album with her father, his ghost, his memory, the good, the bad, where she does dig some of those good things out of it.
There's another one. I mean, and I think we'll talk about the never going back. That's literally all about him anyways. So
yeah, that full song is, but he's all throughout, because I think it's one of those things where it's got to be hard for her, where she finally mended this relationship that was just a mess, and then he passes away. So the lost years, and you start to think, I mean, every time you lose somebody, you think about that lost time, the moments you could have spent but you didn't. So it's it hits particularly hard. But any lyrics stand out to you on this one?
Let me pull.
I got a shit ton. So
I figured you did.
if you need help, I got you.
No, I mean, I'm going to talk about Lost Boys, and then I'll let you go, because I just I love the whole song. I love the lyric.
That was on my favorite list too. So I definitely agree. But you had it, so you said it. You said it all for that one. Great song. So go ahead.
I may not like the album right now. I will not take away from her songwriting. So I will definitely say that she is a fantastic songwriter. So I love how it starts open on the motorbike doing 90 and a 55 to another life, where they make you cut your hair, impatient with a rifle and your papers. Weightless. That's all about that's the military aspect.
Military,
I love that. That kicked in, and then it goes into verse 2. That one time in East Berlin when you threw a tantrum with a 57 and broke. This is. I'm not saying I love these lyrics because of this is about her dad again, and we know that the kind of person he was. I think the way that she words it, and this, it's just, it's a wild album or song, and I don't say the lyrics. I'm not celebrating the lyrics because of the abuse in it. I'm celebrating the way that she puts this in the song and makes it her own, and makes it this. It's just a really fantastic way that she's singing about this and talking about it, and makes that her own, and tells us that the abuse is there.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to misconstrue that I'm for this abuse. I'm just saying I like the way that she worded it and made it her own. And delivery was spot on. Thank you. That was the word I was looking. That was where I was looking. The delivery of those lyrics let us know of what exactly she went through, and I loved it. I love the way that she can sing about it and still make you feel it and make you feel for her. So I like that. So those are my lyrics from that song.
Okay. So like I said, I got plenty. If you have any other songs you want to drop.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I started with The Outside. So at first with that one, is like the vocoder, it put me off, but I kind of realized what she was doing, and it was showing her disconnection. So she picks two events. One is this, tragic event, her father's funeral. The other one is this triumphant concert that she played, where she literally stage dove and they took her all the way to the barricade and back. And she talks about both these events through the vocoder. So she's disconnected from both of them, the pain and the pleasure. She's standing on the outside of both. So I like when it says, crying in a suit and tie, but you should see the other guy. One more time for old time's sake, I'll watch him get carried away. Fist through the drywall, I'm frozen in place, but not afraid. So there's her father's funeral, and the carrying away is different, where we get two different versions of being carried away. The first one, watching his funeral, watching his casket be carried away, And then the second one, I dive into a crowd and they never let me hit the ground. Way beyond the barricade, Ohio carried me away, screaming my ending, fist in the air. You were there. And then she's again talking how she's watching it from the outside. So both of these events, she's still not feeling connected to them. So I like that. And I like how the vocoder is kind of it's more of a metaphor. Like it's a robotic false version of herself that's viewing these events. So yeah, as I was digging into that one, I started to feel it. I mean, it's not a song I would want to play a bunch of times, but I like the way the lyrics are constructed with that vocoder and everything. I think that's what I think the power of the song was. But yeah, and I like it's even though it's, you know, somber, I like, you know, crying in a suit and tie, but you should see the other guy, kind of a little laughing reference. And then Governor's Ball, I was the belle of the Governor's Ball, hiding in the bathroom like Shelley Duvall. I
you know, I got to give her props because nobody, you know, I've never heard anybody put Shelley Duvall in a
yeah.
If you guys, if you don't know what she's talking about the Shining.
The Shining, yep.
Yeah, that was, I thought that was a really unique reference, and I did enjoy that lyric.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of that one. I'm like, all right, that is a funny way to put that you're hiding in the bathroom. It's just, it's a great little simile that she throws in there, and you gotta love it. And then I liked in the song at the end when it, you know, gets more into its downer side. So let's see how long we can go without talking. Watch me pretending to sleep. I'm next to you, you're next to nothing. You promised that you'd never leave, but maybe you'll do it for me. So this is one of those things where they are in a bad relationship. Both sides probably know it, but they're just not willing to let it go. So I liked those lyrics, even if they're sad. It's one of those things where it's like, you promise you never leave, but maybe it's okay if you do that.
Yeah, I think I don't think, like you said, I don't think either one of them liked each other at that point.
Anymore. They were at the point that it was it was a bad relationship and it needed to end, but neither one wanted to let it go there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Bobby, I liked, so you followed me home like you'd done it before, and you had to bend over to get through the door. So I'm assuming he's tall.
He's tall.
And if you didn't like, okay, and if you didn't like one of my friends, I'd kill them. And that's where I'm thinking, okay, little obsession. It's like, yes, you're in love, but is it too dark?
I really hope that's just metaphorically speaking and not. Whew.
Yeah, but I like, I just, another one that I chuckled at. So now I sleep in your shirts and you live in my house. You sing in the shower. I talk to myself. We've got stairs on the ceiling and clothes on the floor and a thing in the box I don't touch anymore. I'm like, all right. I got that metaphor and it gave me a little chuckle. So
he's like, he's got a, well, everybody's taller than me, but I know he's like 6 foot giant.
Okay.
So he's pretty up there.
I had that one. I liked her little box reference of what is put aside now because she's in a loving, healthy relationship. So yeah, I liked that one. Haunted. So where was that? So you won't have to open a heart that's broken. Water's gonna flow in either way. My heart is growing either way. So it's kind of, things are a mess, but she's healing and she's growing. So I like that. It throws a shade of optimism onto what's a lot of songs that don't have a shade of optimism. Besides basically her Bo Burnham songs, which I know he did help co-write some of the songs on the album, and hopefully could like inject a little bit of lightness into them because he has some funny lyrics in his songs. So
Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
He's a comedian,
but when he writes his songs, like they can be kind of serious but kind of funny. Yeah. And then I liked the line, just, I have no secrets, only feelings, and I know those go away. There's a difference between lying and deciding not what to say, and that's kind of that artist line where your fans expect you to be autobiographical and to tell all, but you have to decide what not to say. You have to actually know when to draw the line and not say the things because, you know, your audience expects a certain thing from you, and you have to say, okay, am I going to lie or just not say that? So I liked that. Like I said, I got a lot. So Still Standing, like you said, that one is fully about her father, the good and the bad. That one has more bad hiding in it than the good.
There's a lot of bad hiding. I think that's why I don't talk like a lot of the lyrics. I mean, like I said, she writes really well. It's just it is hard to talk about those lyrics and not just see the bad in them. I mean, there's a lot of bad.
And like I said, when I'm looking at death through the eyes of a very complicated relationship, one that definitely the bad outweighed the good, and I'm not digging too deep. We're not going to have full confessional here, but just as someone who's living through that, it's these lyrics. That's where they hit me harder. Was just I understand, and if this were the loss of somebody who I had a glowing relationship with, I would come at these lyrics in a different way.
Totally different way.
Come at one where you had a complex relationship and there was like truckloads of hurt thrown at you, but you still see the good because there was, it's not to say there's no good, but you have to find a way to weigh them. And I think this song, that's why this one hit me hard. It was, a weep on the couch moment, but yeah, sometimes I want you back, but not today.
Understandable.
And now there is nothing. You're back to the ocean burning red. I can't imagine you dead, but you are every day. And then thank you for everything. So it's still kind of like there was a lot of stuff, but still thank you for what you brought to my life. So it's one of those that one, just a different day, a different week. If we had covered this album 3 months ago, I would have felt very differently about it. I would have
absolutely
in a very different way, but instead it was just like, damn, are you sitting? Is she singing through the speakers directly to me right now? Yeah. Because it felt like I was, hearing words written for me. And I think that's where some of the best albums work is breakup albums. If you're going through a breakup, they're going to resonate with you in such a different way because you're like, this is me right now. I'm feeling it. So that's why the best songwriters find a way to connect with the people they're writing for, because you're going to imagine them, just speaking to you, speaking for you, because you're going through an equal level of pain in the same way that they are. So that's why I think it got me in a different way than it got you. And that's why I was saying, all right, I'll be the good cop today. Cause this was, too almost, and I will say, I do wish that the songs had slightly more variety, where it's like the level of somber was sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Where I think songs like Bobby, songs like the country song kind of took you out of it for a moment where you needed to be taken out of it. But I think a few more that took you out of it would have been better. But again, you write from where you're at, and where she's at is this point in her life. So you're not going to get that. But I mean,
yeah, I know.
It's different. So yeah. So then I had I Can't Wait. I just liked this All My Life Side by Side. Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde, finally together.
Yes. Where it's like, and that's where she's with who'd she
Cameron,
do that?
Cameron Winter from is singing that one, which
that was really good. I mean, I did have that was my favorite lyric from I Can't Wait. I just thought that was they really did that well together too.
Mm-hmm.
That last verse was really good. And
I think that works so well having the two people singing, because you have Hyde, you have Jekyll, and you're singing together, but now they're together. So it's like, all right, both sides of her personality are now merged. And then having Cameron Winter,
that was perfect.
It's great.
That was really perfect. And like you said, I think because they did that together so well, that last verse just pops in that song. Like it's a decent song. But that last verse really pops because of Cameron and her together. So I like that lyric as well.
Yeah, that one, that particular, the song itself, I think I was just feeling like, okay, it's not bad, it's not amazing. And then when that came in, I'm like, oh damn, that just transcended that song to a new level. And it doesn't have to be Cameron Winter. He works well with her, and I love Cameron Winter. I'm a big Geese fan, but it's just the way they they meld in that song is just, it's perfect.
If I hear it again and she does it, I don't know if I would, because they did it so well together. I don't know if she did it with somebody else, it would give me the same. Yeah, it might, but I think they did it so well is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's definitely a high point of them on that album together. And I wonder, because she's going to play this song live, you have to assume. Yeah. And she's not going to bring Cameron Winter to every show to sing a verse. So how will it be without him? I'm sure she can have one of her guitarists or someone else in the band sing it, but it's not going to hit the same way.
No, it's not.
It's going to miss that same mark when it's not Cameron Winter, because like I said, she's not dragging him around. Geese are on their own, high right now, and they're finally getting their victory lap tour after the album did so well. So now they're doing their larger venue tour, and they're not going to be like, hey, let's go to Phoebe Bridgers to sing a verse together. Maybe if they're playing the same city at the same time, that's when you get that little,
or they do like Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood. I'll use them for an example. Mm-hmm. They're not always on tour together. So when I went to see Brad one time, him and Carrie did a song. He had her hologrammed.
Oh, okay.
Hologrammed in and her singing. So it worked that way. It's still not the real thing, but it's not like they got somebody else to do it. So
I think that's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, I think if she did it with a hologram or some kind of screen that drops down when they do that, I think that would work. Yeah.
I think that would be good. And that's kind of like the Gorillaz do. Yeah. If the Gorillaz if the person is around, that person will come out and sing with them. And if the person's not, then they'll have the cartoon version of them on the screen singing the songs. Instead of having someone else sing the lyrics, they'll just have it played from the screen. That. So the Gorillaz way is the way to do it. If Cameron Winter's not available, which there's a chance, because they're actually both going to be in California right around the same time. So maybe he'll come out for a show. But if not, I'd say do it the Gorillaz way. Don't have someone else sing it. Pipe Cameron Winter's voice through there, and that's your best case scenario. So, yeah, and Gorillaz will bring out 8 million guest stars.
Yes.
I mean, the last time and especially in LA, because so many people are around LA. So the last time I saw them, you got De La Soul and Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Tame Impala. It's like one after the next, and Beck. It was just.
I think that's what makes them. I think that's what I like about them, though. It's because they do that.
Yeah,
like you get a lot of really good acts that come from all eras and all.
Yeah, they'll bring anyone in.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we've already done the grill. I mean, we both gave glowing reviews on Gorillaz, anyways. So
yeah, I'm pumped that I'm seeing them in mid-October, and I'm ready for that, because I can't wait to see how they interpret this new album, because I've looked at the set list and it is very heavily packed with The Mountain, and I can't wait, because like I said, we both loved the album. So it'll be interesting to see how they interpret it, what people come in and guest star with them. I know the one that plays the sitar is actually touring with them, so that person will be at all the shows, but what rappers will make it? Right. Well, you get a chance, maybe Idols will be there. But again, is he going to come out for one song? I don't know if they're in town. So I'm hoping. I'm ready for that. But yes,
I can't wait.
Tangent again, but that's okay. Like I said, we've missed our tangents and we're back.
We're allowed to have as many tangents as we want this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, well, it's never stopped us, even without their permission. I think we'll still go off.
That's true. Most definitely.
All right. So my last one, Lost Weekend Reprise. This song is almost too much for me to handle right now. Every time I hear it, it doesn't make me think of the more complicated death. It makes me think of the one who, like I said, was more of a father figure to me. So as I hear it, because this one is not her looking at the negative. She's looking at positive memories of him. She's just kind of going through and running through these positives with him, not looking at the negative. So when he's not coming back as a bird, he's not coming back, but I still live by the things he taught me. And yeah, I mean, I was playing this because I always like to play it while I'm setting everything up for my one last listen. And I was like, you fucking song, you're gonna break me down right before we go on the air.
Who was the recording of?
That was her father in a voicemail.
That's what I couldn't. Why am I stuck on something?
Yeah, so that was that for that recording. That was a voicemail he had sent to her. I don't know at what point in time.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know if it was where I was listening to it on Spotify and I couldn't pick it up real well, and I was trying to figure. I didn't know if it was the boyfriend or if it was the dad.
That was the dad.
Okay, okay, that puts a whole new spin on that reprise. Though I did like that.
That one, just like I said, it hits me hard. I hear it, and like I said, it's not. She spends a lot of time dealing with the negative side of things, and this one, it's really not. She's just talking about memories she had of him, and it's not happy, but it's more reflective of the good, because there's both sides of things, and that one it gets me at the other death that I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, oh man, that one I will probably avoid playing it for a while. It's just too much. It is too much for me. I love it. I love what it is at the time that I'm feeling it, and it will now always connect me more to my uncle when I hear it. But damn, if I need a break from it, because it's heavy. It's so heavy, but beautifully done, and I do really like what came of it. So we are going to move into our next category. I guess it's going to be a longer show, but that's all right. We've been away for a while.
Yeah, we've been away for a
lot to say. So, are you skipping anyone's on this?
Oh yeah, there's a few
category. All right. So what are you skipping on this one?
I am skipping the. I'm skipping. Where's it at? The Never Going Back. It just not that it's a bad song. It's just it's a minute of 42 that didn't need to be there. And then I'm skipping. Was it Other Plans? Was that the other one?
I think so.
I think that was the other real, like, very short.
And then I took note of that. Yeah, Other Plans. I wrote in my notes, like, the back end of the album has a lot of really short songs, and sequencing maybe might have worked, but I know she wrote it specifically to be 3 sides of an album, where each album side had a specific movement to it. So I mean, she knew what she was doing. It just, I think there's a lot of short songs kind of thrown at the end of everything. So I'm with you on that.
That's the only two again, not because they're bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're just really short. It takes, and you're like I was, for the most part, I did like I'm Never Going Back. It just it ended abruptly, and you're just like, okay, I wanted to see where it was going. So those are the two I'm skipping. Now, if she makes it longer later down the road or something like that, fine, I won't skip it. But for now, those are my only skips. The other again, and I want to preface this to everybody before we get 3-page dissertations in the comments.
Right.
And everything.
Send them to Dash. I'm innocent this time.
This and I said at the beginning of the show, I'll say it now. This was for me the wrong album, or the right album at the wrong time.
Yeah, and we had different, where you're at in your world will always affect how an album gets you. I mean, and that's the beauty of art, is it hits you different ways at different times, and how you feel it could be completely different if you came at it at a different point in your life. And I mean, that's the beauty of any good art. I mean, bad art always sucks, but good art will find the right moment for you. I mean, It's like, I'm never going to be reaching for the Joe Walsh album. It's never going to be like, this is that time.
You know what? I
finally resonates with me. So
maybe I do need Joe Walsh right now.
Yeah, but
maybe to put me back on track. So I hate that so bad. All right, now I'm good. I'm right back on track, because
you need proper hate.
I need a proper hate.
We need to embrace your anger. But yeah, I did have Never Going Back as well. For me, I'm listening to it, and as it's building, I'm like, it sounds like a B-level Beta Band song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, Beta Band would have done it better. And then it just kind of faded into the voicemail from her father. And I was like, it just didn't go. A good beta band song will start like that and then go in a weird direction and build and be something really strong by the end, where this one started like, it sounded like the beginning of a good beta band song that just stopped. And I was waiting for the next part and we just never got it. So, shout out Beta Band. I don't know if you know them, but
I just like it was a good melody.
Yeah.
And you were really getting it, you're really getting it.
And that's the beta, what the beta band's great. These rhythms build, and then the song goes in a even cooler thing. I'm trying to think, what is the John Cusack High Fidelity? Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Dry the Rain is a beta band song.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. That, and their songs are so good and strange, and like I said, it would have started like that as a beta band song, but then it would have gone somewhere else, and that's what I was waiting for. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling your beta band vibes right now, and then it's just like stops, goes into the voicemail and ends. It's like there was potential, and I don't say I dislike it, I just wanted it to go all the way, and I feel like it didn't. And if it would have been like, okay, that's movement 1 and then movement 2 takes it even stranger and more different and more complex, I think it could have been one of the best songs on the album. But instead it just stops, and it never gets there. And I was waiting for it to get there because it just felt like it was. It's like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling these vibes. It's got these vibes that are strong, and then it just dead ends on me.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That was my problem with it. It's not that it's bad, it's that it feels incomplete. And maybe one day we get the extended version of that song, and I'm here for that.
Right. So, and you're right. It could have been, if that had gone on another 3 to 4 minutes, that probably would have been the best song on the album, just like you said. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. So in its current form, we skip it because it frustrates you, and you're like, damn it, that could have been the closer of the album. I mean, it's going to close with the song it closes with, because it needs to close with that final, that final piece with her father, where she's looking at it through a more positive light. But that could have been your second to last song that kind of goes with this bang into the somber moment, and it would have been just a perfect 1-2 punch to close the album out. But instead, it's just the what could have been song of the album.
Yep, and I agree.
Yeah, the other one I had, again, not because it's bad, but because it just doesn't go where it needs to go, and that's Lost Parade. It's such a quick little instrumental song, and I felt like it could have been like she could have put together a really beautiful 3 to 4 minute instrumental song that would have been ethereal and beautiful and a better way. But I think it's another one, kind of like Never Going Back. I feel like it didn't get there. It never actually finishes what it started. So those 2 songs are skipping because they just don't get me where I want to be. They don't get all the way that it needs to go.
I'll add that one too. I like the instrumental, and and you're right. I think it suffers from, again, being too short, and it could have been a much needed lifting,
like a little palate cleanser.
Yes,
it would have this kind of, because the vibes of it are just beautiful. It's I love it, and then it just drops out. And a few of the songs did that and did frustrate me, is that they just kind of dropped out. But I think it's the style of the album that we're going for. But I felt like, I'm waiting, because the songs, they especially toward the end, just didn't get the full place you wanted them to get. And I think of one of my favorite songs, I Know the End, that she plays. That's 5 minutes, and it goes through multiple movements and builds to this huge explosion at the end. And that's why I think it's become her most popular song. I'm guessing if you go into Spotify, you'll see that is her most streamed song. And it starts like a lot of these songs do, kind of at that somber, it's a breakup song, and then it just builds and builds into this primal scream at the end. And if you ever see her in concert, the entire crowd is in this primal scream, and it's just a beautiful moment. And that's the one thing that this album was missing for me, was that song that builds and shifts and changes and finally explodes. And that is where Never Going Back could have been. I thought when I first started, like, this is going to be like, I Know the End. It's going to be that one where it's like, this is that bang, going out with a bang song. And instead it's just like, oh, no, incomplete. But yeah, those are my skips. So
yeah.
But yes, definitely seek out the song I Know the End. You will like that one, because like I said, it goes to movements to this big, primal scream of an end. I love that song so much. I've played it. That is my COVID song. So sometimes it took me a while before I wanted to listen to it again, because I'm like, ooh, it's just too COVID. Much like the reprise is going to be too much, that particular Death in the Family. But when I go back to it, because I played it when I was running, which, I love this album, but sorry, it is not a running album. It failed the running test hard. So yeah, we didn't really talk about that. But yeah, every album gets the running test. This one, I'm sorry, Phoebe Bridgers, it did not pass the run test.
No run test. No head bopping.
It passed the vinyl on my couch test, but while I'm listening to it and running, only a few songs had a tempo that kept me going. But yeah, that doesn't mean it's a bad album, because yeah, we look at Maisie Owen, her album did not pass the running test,
but it was
and she admitted too that it wouldn't pass the running test. When I told her that I ran to the album, she's like, "Yeah, it's not really good for that."
That's what she said.
Yeah. Oh, I wish we had recorded what we were talking about backstage, because she was the first musician that stuck around backstage, and we chatted for a good 15 minutes. I'm like, damn, this is some gold material that we're just not recording right now. But yeah, that one also failed the running test very hard as well. But all right, we're going in our last category. You keeping it or returning it to the used bin?
Okay, this is a caveat. I am not returning it. I am saving it for a later date.
Saving it for the right time.
I'm saving it for the right time. This again, I don't need to go. I mean, Ed and I, for the last couple of weeks, have dealt with our own personal stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff. And this was the right album for the wrong time for me. So that being said, I am going to hold it and give it another listen to when I'm in the right state for myself. And then I will give it. And again, I didn't hate the album at all. I just needed it to be at a different time. That's what I will say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a somber ride. It is a dark, heavy ride, but it's the ride I needed at this moment. So it for me, I'm definitely keeping it. I would have kept it either way, but it would have been more of like, okay, I'll come back to this when the timing is right. Where this time the timing's right, which means I'll kind of have the opposite feeling, where I'm going to need to put it aside for a bit and, grab some of the songs. So yeah, like Lost Boys works for whenever it works. And, political lyrics aside, that song works for me. So, just because, like I said, I get those 9 Inch Nails vibes for it. And, I'm always down with that. But yeah, I will keep it and put it aside for a bit and, play something more upbeat and cheery, because you an album like this, you can spend time with it, you can embrace its darkness, and then you just need a break from it. And it's like, let me get something happy and upbeat. And one of the potential artists that I'm trying to get on the show has a very upbeat, happy kind of 80s, 90s, like pop punk vibe. So that one is what I started to play after the Phoebe Bridgers failed the running test. I popped that one on. I'm like, it's moving. I got the vibes and I'm feeling this. And sorry, Phoebe, but you're not going to complete my run with me.
I had to go put on an OU football, or one of the old OU football games after one of my first listens to this album, because I needed to be happy. I needed to watch a football game just to get me back in the.
I lived in the sadness with it, because it was where it was my headspace, and I was walking around feeling sad anyway, and she was just like, "Here, hold my beer. I got you. And she's like, here, you thought you were sad. Have a healthy, 40-minute dose of it. But it was what I needed. It was the hero I needed and the hero I deserved. So, yeah. Phoebe, thank you. And I'm put you aside for a bit because now I'm going to go back and have something more upbeat and poppy, more fun. I mean, honestly, I don't want to insult an album, but it's not a fun album, and it doesn't need to be. Not every album needs to be a fun album.
And I don't disparage the tone of the album per se. And mean it in a bad way. Like I said, it in 4 or 5 weeks, I'll probably be in the right headspace, and it'll probably be the right time to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking anything away from Phoebe Bridgers, and it is what it is for today. 4 weeks from now, it may be a totally different thing for me.
Got it. All right. Well, next week we are gonna dig into one. I mean, I know this album. It's not my first impression. I know and / adore this album, but we're covering it because of the tragic loss of Glenn Hansard, who passed away in a motorcycle accident just recently.
Just a couple days ago.
I want to make sure that I cover one of his albums, and I know them all too well. I know his solo albums. I know this one, which is technically the Swell Season with him and Marquetta. And great movie, great album. I'm excited to play it again because it's been a while since I've played it, and give Dash his first dose of Glenn Hansard, who is one of my top songwriters of all time. He's one of those people where April and I have our concert agreement. There's certain bands that if they're playing, the answer is always yes. And Glenn Hansard and Swell Season, if they were playing, the answer was always yes, because I'll talk about it next week. I don't feel the loss when musicians or things like that hard a lot, but his hit me hard because I was just like, this is one of the best songwriters that we have of our time, and he never got all the recognition he deserved. So next week we come in and we talk about the late great Glenn Hansard and the soundtrack for Once.
Very nice.
All right. So until next week, have a great weekend. I will be back on Saturday. I need some guests. So I don't have any guests lined up. So you want to be on Saturday morning? Drop me a message.
Just send me the stuff. I'll join you.
Cool. All right. So I got one, and I'm going to reach out to a few other people that I know have campaigns right now. So I'll be here Saturday, even if it's just me and Dash shooting the shit. We could do that for 90 minutes quite easily.
As you see.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in. I'm happy to be back, and we'll be back next week. We will have a few weeks coming off, but we'll be here as much as we can, and have a great rest of your week, and we will see you on Saturday.
See you on the next one.